The date is September 30th, 2018. The location is the Yankee Air Museum, Belleville, Michigan. The time is 1:45 p.m., and the person being interviewed today is Clara Bella Hunter Doutly. Clara was born on October 21st, 1921. Clara worked at the Briggs Manufacturing Company in Detroit, Michigan during World War II. The interview is being conducted by Claire Kitchen-Dahl. The interview will be videotaped by Gary Delisle. There are no observers present. This interview is being conducted on behalf of the Oral History Project at Yankee Air Museum in Belleville, Michigan. Clara, thank you for coming to the Yankee Air Museum today to share your memories of working at Briggs Manufacturing Company during the war years. By preserving your story of working on the home front during World War II, our national narrative will be more complete, honest, colorful, and accurate. Primary documentation is vital to any study of that world conflict, and we appreciate your willingness to help fill in the gaps. For the record, would you state your full name, please?
Clara Bella Hunter Doutly.
When and where were you born?
Detroit, Michigan.
What date?
October 21st, 1921.
And do you remember where you were born? Were you born at home?
I was born in the Herman Keepers Hospital. It was a small hospital. I think it was on Michigan before it moved downtown and then over to 12th Street. And now I think it's moved back to Selden.
Okay, so you were born in a hospital. Mm-hmm. What were the names of your parents? What was your mother's name?
My mother's name was Mary. Her maiden name was Mary Macon. Her marriage name was Mary Hunter. And when my dad died, she married again, and her name was Mary Lee.
Okay. And what about your father? What was his name?
James Hunter. That's who he died.
James Hunter, and he died?
And she remarried.
Okay, so he died as a young man?
Yes, he did.
And what did he do during the Depression?
Well, he did a little bit of this and that, and then he got hired at Ford. He got hired at Ford when it first started, I think. And then he died.
How about siblings? You have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, it was 6 of us, and they're all gone now but me.
And what were their names?
I'm the youngest of the 6.
Yeah.
The oldest died at 105.
105, and you're going to be 97 next month.
Yes.
So what was the name of your sibling who died at 105?
Her name was Bessie Hunter, and her maiden name was Bessie Lyon. Not her maiden name. Her maiden name was Bessie Hunter, and her marriage name was Bessie Lyon. Okay,
so we have Bessie, and then who was the next person in your family?
Jim Lee Hunter, and her name was Hunter.
Okay.
Jim Lee Webster, and her name was Hunter.
Right. Jimmy Lee Hunter Webster.
Yeah.
And then?
Charles Hunter.
And then?
Mary Hunter.
And then?
Walter Hunter.
And then the baby of the family?
Yeah, me.
Clara Bella Hunter, the baby of the family. All right, when we talked earlier, you had lots of wonderful things to say about your mama. Would you tell us about her, please?
Oh, when I told you about my mother said she wouldn't send us to school to use her head for something beside a hat rack. And if we got in a fight at school, we better win that one because we would lose the one when we get home. And she said, respect yourself so you can respect other people. And don't, especially respect elder people, because you're going to get old yourself one day.
Good for her. Did she have you go to church?
Oh, yes. We went to church at Shiloh Baptist Church. It's on Benton, between St. Antoine and Beaubien, and it's one of the oldest churches in the city of Detroit. It was Shiloh Baptist Church.
And you still go to it occasionally?
No, I quit going, but I go to church though.
Okay.
But I swore I would never go into church no more because my mother kept us in church.
You spent too much time there, so now you're taking a break.
No, I still go to church, but that's what I said when I was young, because she kept us in church with BYPU and everything else. She kept us in. And we go to church 2 or 3 times a day, 2 or 3 times a week. And that's what I said when I was growing up. That's what we all said. And then when she get after us about something, we never get too many whoopings because we did remember them. And we said, Mama, how come you know what we were doing? She said, because I was young once myself.
And you liked her new husband, the stepfather?
Yeah. He was very nice to us. He didn't rule my mother, and she didn't rule him. They got along very well.
That's great. Now, what about, you said that your address was 634 Willis Street.
Yes.
What can you tell us about your house and growing up in that little house?
Well, we rented that house, and that rent back then was $25 a month. And that was a lot of money, you know. And everybody knew everybody, and it was mixed, colored, white back then. The whole neighborhood, everything was mixed. And you was in and out of each other's house. You didn't know what color you was. You had, you know, and if you did something wrong, they could get after you and make you go home and then go tell your mother what you did.
Was it a small house?
Well, it was 5 rooms that I remember.
Okay, tell us about your rooms.
Well, it was 2 bedrooms and 3 kitchen, dining room. And she made room for us, and we didn't rub shoulders either. Some of the houses were shotgun houses. You know what shotgun house is?
Tell us, please.
A shotgun house is when you stand in the front door and kill everybody through there. You know what a shotgun house is, though. I'm right?
So it was a shotgun house because why?
The rooms wasn't no rooms on the side. They go straight through. Anybody's they get a shot go through there, they get shot. That's what they call a shotgun house. And we all had back then that and everything. We had outhouses. And at nighttime you had this little flop jar you brought in the house and everything put by the back door. And you didn't want to go to the bathroom because everybody knew what you was doing.
What about the laundry?
The laundry, 3 bathtubs. You
wash, rinse, right? Did you have water in your house?
You had before they put a fountain in, faucet in and everything, a little pump outside.
So somebody had to go out to the pump and get the water.
And you had a coal stove to cook on and heat on, and the stove never went out.
Because somebody had to keep it going.
Then you had to keep some on when the stove never didn't have. You had a icebox window, and you put your food, if you had any, in the window. But we got along. I mean, if one person had something, the other person had something, we shared. And then they had this program of going on, getting this joint to come, WPA. Mm-hmm. And my oldest brother, he went to they paid him $30 a month.
Oh, we'll talk about him in a minute. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. So your memories of 634 Willis Street are good ones.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You worked together.
Going to school too.
Okay, let's talk about your schooling. Where did you go to school?
To Lincoln School. It's still there now, but they're using it as a museum. It's right when you go down Mac, going east on Mac between John and Senate line. You see Spain School, the new school and everything right this side of Wayne State and everything. They're using the Lincoln School as a museum now. You can walk through it.
So that was your elementary school?
Yeah.
And what about middle school?
I went to Lincoln, Garfield, and Cass Technical High.
Okay, so Lincoln grade school, Garfield middle school, and then high school where?
Cass Technical High.
Cass Technical High School. Now, while you were in middle school, I know that you received something from the Detroit News.
I had
What was that?
Fair and Square Club.
And what is the Fair and Square Club?
According to your grades and how you act in school and everything, the Detroit News would give it to you.
A certificate for being a good girl.
Yeah.
And because of that certificate, what happened?
I got to go to Green Pasture Camp, and the girls was on one side and the boys was on the other side.
For how long? And what did you
2
do?
weeks. Well, you did sports work, and then you did school work too, because we had a counselor with us. The boys had a counselor, we had a counselor, and you didn't go past what you were supposed to go past unless they told you.
And how did you get there?
We went on the bus. They took us on the bus.
Was it just outside of Detroit someplace?
Yes.
And it was an overnight camp for 2
Yes.
weeks, filled with all kinds of good boys and girls.
Yeah.
You had a good time?
Mostly anyway.
And you had a good time?
Yes, I did.
All right. So what do you remember about your brother Charles and the CCCs, you said one time?
Now, he went to CC camp, and that's where they paid the boys $30 a month, but $25 come home, and they kept $25 for themselves.
And do you remember talking to him about that? Did he like it? Was it hard work?
Oh, well, he didn't talk about it. He enjoyed it and everything. He enjoyed it. He didn't make no career out of talking about it. And he was a nice man. He was really a nice man.
Why do you think he decided to go into the CCCs?
Well, they're still doing the times are kind of rough. You know, money was funny. So he went so he could have some money and everything.
And did he ever come home to visit, or once he was?
He come home. He come home once a month. They could come home once a month, and we have a street dance for him.
A street dance for Charles?
Yeah, all the boys that went to camp and everything, we'd have a street dance. Nobody had no money, but we'd throw a potato or something, a corn in the pot, and make a big soup or whatever, and have a good time. Wasn't no fights. There was nothing.
That's great. That's a beautiful memory to have of that time, of neighborhoods supporting each other. Did you ever feel any kind of discrimination in your neighborhood or schools?
No, because my mother told us, told us that she said, you look anybody in the eye, don't be looking off and scratching up in the sky and everything. Look them in the eye when you're talking to them, and nobody's better than you, and you know better than nobody else.
Good for her. Mama had some good lessons for you, didn't she?
Yeah, she was a good mother.
She was, I think so. Now, one time when you and I talked earlier, you mentioned Aunt Sadie in Ecorse.
Oh, yeah, I love to go out there. Boy, she had a house and she had a pig, she had little piglets and everything. And the house was a long way from the river, but I like to chase the pigs and run down to the river, but every time you catch one of them little pigs, they was greasy and they slide out your eye, but you had fun. And she had a great big hole dug in the ground. And on Thanksgiving and everything, she had a hog, and she put the hog down in there and covered him up all night long. We just seasoned him all night long, and the next morning the hog was done.
The hog was good. You mean
Done,
to eat?
And it was done,
It was a pig.
Yeah, the coals, the coals was at the bottom of the hog. You put the coals down and that aluminum foil over the coals, and then put the hog in there, and then do the same thing with the top. And the next morning the hog was done.
This was before Ecorse was all built up.
That's right.
Ecorse was farmland during that time.
And as far as the house was here, and the house was way over there, the house was there.
Well, Aunt Sadie sounds like it was a nice time to go and get away from everything in town.
Yeah, I would always try to go out to my aunts, and my mother would say, "That's right, I'm your mother. I'm going to take you out there before I kill you." But she didn't mean it, but
She didn't mean it, of course not. We know Mama was good. You've told us that. Now, how did the war in Europe, 1939, affect your family? Did you hear about it, that World War II broke out in Europe? Were you aware of that?
Well, they was talking about it and everything. They was talking about it, but you mean, you know, you're young and you weren't paying no attention to it, but when you heard about they were hiring everybody, you know, of age and everything, everybody needs some money and everything, so mostly everybody, men and women both went because they needed the money and they're doing it for the country.
Sure. Now, did you have a radio in your house, or did you get a
radio?
newspaper?
A radio, not until you got a job.
And did you have a newspaper ever coming? Did your family get the news? So this was just word of mouth. Basically, you heard that the war had started.
Well, maybe one person in the neighborhood had a radio or something, but everybody didn't have it.
And what do you remember about the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941?
All I remember that everybody was talking, we fighting.
And then did anybody in your family enlist in the service?
My brother did, and then...
Oh, that was Charles, who had been in the CCCs.
Yeah, and I don't remember nobody else.
Okay. Other than Charles going into the war, how did the war itself affect your family life in terms of food or transportation or anything? Do you remember those war years?
The war years, you had to have tickets and things to get butter and sugar and all like that, but you got along.
Right. So it just continued pretty much the way it had been. Now, where did you work during the war years?
I worked at Briggs Manufacturing Company. It was on St. Jean and Mac.
And what did they do at Briggs?
You had to go. They made He made the nose of the plane, the bomber plane, but you had to go to work 2 weeks in there to learn how to use that gun.
The riveting gun.
Yeah, because and then when you did, that gun was yours special to use in your name to go in and get. Nobody else could get that gun.
Why? Why did you have to have your own? Why couldn't?
Because you learned by that gun. You learn, and the work you was doing, because it was different size riveting gun.
Okay, there it is. So you had your own special rivets, this own special gun, trained on it. And did you say you had special training for it?
Yeah, you had to. You couldn't just go in there with that gun and put a rivet. You'd knock the one behind there out of the box and everything. Then you would mess up the whole nose of the plane, because if you messed it up 3 times, you go the 3rd time, you couldn't be no riveting no more.
All right. Now, first of all, why did you go to Briggs? How come you chose that place to work?
It wasn't exactly a choice. I just happened to be over in that neighborhood, and because I had some cousins over there before they left Detroit, and so I said, I'm going to put in for it. So I happened to be lucky.
You applied and you were hired.
Pardon?
You applied for it and you were hired.
Yeah.
Now, how did you get to work?
Well, by my 2 cars, my right and left.
You walked.
No, the streetcar.
The streetcar. Yeah. All right. All right. So you needed a job. You really didn't care if it was war-related or not.
See, my mother was taking care of us, 6 children, and wasn't making us much and everything. And she always taught us that we have to help out when we got of age.
Well, it's a good lesson for everybody.
See what?
That's a good lesson and something everyone should remember.
Yeah, and then she said after we got married and stayed with her, you're still gonna pay some rent.
Okay, let's go back to Briggs now. You were a riveter.
Yeah. With
special training, and you had your own gun.
I wasn't the only one learning to be a riveter. There was plenty of women of all nationalities and races. I wasn't the only one.
Right.
And they wasn't all just here. They were all over. We was the group I be with is mostly the Michigan group. We were lucky enough to get in the Book of Records.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We were lucky enough.
All right, now did you get paid extra for being a riveter?
Yeah, $1.99 an hour. That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, back then.
Mm-hmm. And riveting is a 2-person job, a riveter and a bucker. So did you always have the same bucker?
Yes.
So
you'd have the same, unless you got sick.
Mm-hmm. So you and your bucker were a team.
Well, so we'd have to have, if she couldn't come, have somebody else.
Sure.
But
yeah. Now, what shift did you work?
Afternoon.
And those, what hours would they have been?
From 7 to 12. And they had the money machine, the man that cash checks, he would come by during the day, afternoon. And people run out and get their checks cashed. And I wouldn't do it. And they said, how come you don't go out and get your cash cashed? I said, wait a minute. I said, I work for that check and I'm going to cash that check. Ain't nobody else going to cash it and everything. And they got food, and he got that check one day. They checked and left town with it, disappeared.
So there's the lesson. If you make the money, cash your own check and put it in your own pocket.
That's right.
That's it. Was it hot in the factory?
No, not to me.
How about extra noisy, extra bright?
I've always been able to turn off music.
Okay.
Mentally.
So you were able to focus. All right.
Or either walk away.
Walk away. How about, was it dangerous what you were doing?
Yeah, if you didn't know what you was doing, it was dangerous because that gun could slip. And it could go through and could hit the bucker, or either could jump back on you.
Now, what about the assembly line? Did this nose cone come to you, or did you go to it?
What do you mean, assembly line?
Did the assembly line?
Oh, you had your own space, but when you got through with your ear, the other one come right back to you. Come back to you.
Was the assembly line moving too quickly for you to get your work done?
Nothing works too quickly. You had to be, if you couldn't keep up with it, you didn't have no job there.
All right, so you were able to. What about this story of a foreman, a supervisor?
I told you about the foreman leaning against watching me, and I was asking him, I told you. I
Tell
asked
us
him,
again.
what's up bothering you? Was I bothering you? And I do nothing right. No, you all right. I said, well, if you ain't got nothing to do, you can come here and help me. And he flew. Because I could snitch on him, too. Just as well as he could snitch on me.
Were there black and white women on the assembly line?
It was different nationalities.
And how about your foreman? Were most of
That
them,
was the foreman that I told.
well, and were most of the foremen and supervisors, were they men, or did you have men and women?
It was most of men.
Mostly men. Did you ever have to wear any special identification while you...
We had a badge. We had a badge.
And did you check in at the
yeah,
morning?
we had to check in. You had to check in and check out. And if you was a minute late, you got docked 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Now, what did you wear?
Well, at first you wore skirts, but after the first week, they said, oh, you got to wear some blue jeans. So that's why we started wearing blue jeans. Because you stepping over stuff, you know, and everything.
Did you have to wear any kind of a hat or head covering?
Well, I wore a cap.
Like the kind you're wearing right now?
Yeah, one of them lips, yeah.
Well, you look nice in a cap. So. How about any gloves or
Yeah,
any...
you had to have gloves. You had to, you had to have that kind of stuff and everything, for your own protection.
Right.
You know, some people didn't do it and everything and know they were supposed to do it and they got hurt and everything. And that was a little before insurance and all that stuff come out.
Sure.
Everything.
How about lunch breaks or a dinner break? Did you get one? Or
Yeah,
did you...
we got a lunch break. We got 15 minutes.
And did you buy lunch there or bring
You
it?
could buy lunch. You could sit down for lunch, yeah, or you can just don't have no lunch.
So what did you normally do? Have lunch or decide to skip it?
No, when I had some bologna, I took some of that.
So you basically packed your own lunch and used your time. Now, you one time said that because riveting was difficult and loud, you told me.
It was loud now.
It was loud. So you were on half hour on and a half.
Yeah, we worked a half an hour on. Well, see, you're constantly doing like this, and that was a stressing job and everything. So you had to work a half an hour. You couldn't just go one solid hour. I mean, like people doing the hustle now, the dance hustle. We brought that out during the riveting and all that.
So not only were you working in the defense industries, you were starting a dance movement, right? You've got a lot on your resume, Clara. Now, how did you spend the money that you earned? If you were making good money.
I started with, before I got a job, if anybody gave us a nickel or a penny, all of us had a little jar with our name on it. My mother, if we got a nickel, we had to put 2 cents in that jar, don't touch it. If we got a dime, we had to put something in our jar, whatever we got and everything. And then she told us, whatever you make, save some of it. And she told the girls, she said, I'm going to give you some advice. She said, if you get married, she said, have a bank account of your own and then have a bank account with your husband and have your name on the house and home. Yeah, and don't leave him in that house by yourself, say you leaving him there, because he can move everything out of there, and you ain't there, it's his. And it works right to the day.
So put your name on everything.
And stay in there and don't let him move nothing out of there. Or if he in there, don't let her move nothing out of there, because it's hers, if she get it out of there.
Mm-hmm. How about war bonds? Did you ever buy war bonds?
Nope.
You just saved it, and then
right.
Did you have any socializing that you did after work?
Oh, sure I did.
What kinds of things?
Well, you saw me dress.
Well, we're going to put some of these pictures in the video, but tell us about it.
I went to the bars, the big name bar. I didn't want to go to just the corner bar. I went to cabarets where it was the Duke Ellington and all those and everything. And
well, that was is that the cabaret you were talking about? That's the jazz club.
And I bowl.
Okay.
And I still bowl.
You do?
Yeah. Just because it's snow in the mountain don't mean ain't no fire in the furnace.
Clara, where do you come up with all these sayings? Are these things you come up with yourself, or did your mama teach you these things?
No, my mother didn't teach me some of it.
So this cabaret bar, tell us more about that.
I didn't stay in. If I wanted to go out and everything.
Right.
And then I like to walk and everything. I would walk around the neighborhood and everything. Because you could walk then. You could walk outside at nighttime. You could walk 10, 12 o'clock at night. You know, it wasn't very anything happened. Now you can't walk in the daytime.
Well, so you worked hard all the time. Which shift again did you work? What hours?
I worked from 5 until 12.
From 5 in the morning?
No.
5
in the afternoon.
In the afternoon.
I worked the afternoon shift.
Okay, 5 till 12 midnight. And that's when you would stop at that point sometime and eat your sandwich if you had it, okay. Now, what about, who is Mr. Sylvester Doutly?
That's my husband. He's dead now.
He's dead, but you met him, and had he been in the service?
Yes, he had been in the service.
What did he do?
He was a cook in the service.
He was a cook. So did he ever do any cooking at home?
Oh, yeah, and I gave him the whole house.
You did?
Yeah, because he could beat me cooking, so why stay around?
Good for you. I think you had a pretty rational mindset with all of this. Now, how would you say World War II affected your life? And the whole, the war years and those
World
things.
War II didn't. Hitler was something else. I mean, he was something else. But after it was over, it was all right until all the nuts got active.
But would you say World War II, did it affect your whole family, brothers and sisters?
It didn't really affect us mentally, our sisters. It really didn't affect us. Like my mother said, life still goes on. You said each day is a gift.
Now, were you the only, other than Charles, who went into the service, were you the only one of your siblings that did war-related work during those years?
Yes, I was.
Okay, you were the youngest, so the others were already gone or doing something else. Yes. You and Charles did that. Did you make nice friends while you were working at Briggs?
Yes, I made, most of them is gone now. Most of the old, way back there is gone in a home and Alzheimer's. And so far, Lord, I'm lucky.
Good for you. Good for you. Would you say that your memories of working at Briggs generically are positive or negative? Was it a good job for you?
It's positive. It's positive because I knew I had to work to take care of myself. Because my mother told us, "You're grown now. I'm not taking care of you. I might help you, but I ain't taking care of you."
Did you feel that you were doing this job to really do your part to win the war? Or was this a...
Half and half after I got it. To be truthfully, half and half.
Okay, well, that's truthful. That's good. Does your family, your extended family, know the facts about your being a Rosie the Riveter?
They all gone now. I'm the last one. Siblings and all.
But did they all know it while they were here? Were you proud of your story?
They didn't know it until we went to Washington.
Okay, tell us about that Washington trip.
Oh, it was an experience. We got there. We left here at 5 o'clock.
And this was in 2015. This was the first ever honor flight to the World War II memorials. Okay.
Yeah, we got there at 5 o'clock in the morning. When we left here from the airport, the water department was there. They gave us a go-away water party.
The fire department?
Yeah. And then when we got to Washington, the fire department was there dousing us with water. And when we got off the plane, then we went straight to the White House. We didn't go to see Obama. Obama wasn't in the United States when he was there.
Okay.
We went there to go to the international airport to the soldiers' grave.
Right, to Arlington National?
Yeah, and everything. And we went to the Library of Commerce, and we was gone all day long till we got back on the plane to come back here that night.
I'll bet it was exhausting.
No, it wasn't. We wasn't excited. We were just laughing all the way. We was having a good time.
Good. Now, you went to the World War II monument.
Yeah, we went to everything just about in there.
And what was the reaction of the people around?
They was clapping, and the little children was clapping and hooping and hollering and everything. It was an enjoyable trip.
It was. It was an educational trip for people who watched also
Yeah.
to see all these original Rosie the Riveters visiting Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
As I said, it was the first ever honor flight for the Rosies to be there. Is there anything else that you'd like to add to this interview about your life or your time at Briggs or your time of riveting or anything at all?
Well, the only thing I can say about it all is I've met some wonderful people and everything. You, some of the other Rosies, and I'm at the different places and the different things that I never seen before and never probably would have seen. So, and then I'm still alive, and I say, yay, thank you, Lord.
And what do you do with your days now?
Well, I still go to St. Pat's and volunteer. I've been volunteering there 38 years.
And what is St. Pat's?
It's a senior place. It's right behind Orchestra Hall on Parsons, off of Woodward and everything. And then until I cracked my hip, I would go for a walk down on the river walk. And I still go down there sometime, but it's not easy to go down there with that walker and everything. But it's beautiful down there, and I just enjoy life.
So what do you do at St. Pat's?
I volunteer. I've been volunteering there. I've been working in the kitchen. I work in the desk. I work on the counter, wherever they need help.
Every day?
Yeah. My roof ain't leaking yet. I can still do it.
There's another one of those statements, one of these funny comments. You are filled with them. I think you should have a book written about all your funny comments. Your roof isn't leaking yet, so you know, it's great. It's just wonderful. All right, Clara, thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for giving your strength and patriotic energy to America in the 1940s and for doing your part to help win the war. You have made a difference in this world, and you are truly a heroine. The Tribute Rosies from the Yankee Air Museum and the historic Willow Run Bomber Plant are honored to send your story to the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C. We appreciate you and appreciate your story.
Thank you.
Thank you.